Alrighty, good afternoon ladies and gentlemen, Havoc here, and today we've got Monday Meta Madness episode 15, The Old Switcheroo. You're probably wondering why the old Switcheroo? Well, we're going to be talking about transformational sideboards. It's a very good strategy, a good way to take on the meta, and there's a lot of ways you can surprise your opponent. You show them one strategy in game one, hopefully you'll win, and then they are going to then react to what you've shown them. You're deliberately showing them something, a very clear and concise strategy that they can very easily adapt to, potentially from the reserves if you built your deck correctly. And then you surprise them, you take off the veil, and hopefully do the old switcheroo there, and transform your deck into another strategy, or at least part of it anyway. So we're going to be taking a look at a Blood Ruby deck today. So let's get into HEX here, and we'll it's a deck I ran a few weeks ago in the 5 Shards Weekly. I've changed it a little bit since then, not a whole much, just a few cards. But I'll talk about the strategy here. So we're going to look at the deck first. So as you can see here, it's got a lot of control cards from Burn, which is just a 2 damage to target champion or troop. You've got Zigmund's Gain, which will destroy a random artifact or troop, which is just more early removal. Inquisition, which is taking a card from your opponent's hand, which can be anything besides a non-resource. Very, very good. Another good early card. Heatwave, which with Yodel can do up to 3 damage, so it can wipe a lot of enemy troops, so really good against early aggression. Then a couple of Tezozos over here, which I've just added, which is just a good quality troop that we don't care if he dies, because he'll go back in the deck and be able to destroy things on entering play the second time. We've then got Giant Corpse Flies for the ability to discard cards from our opponent while also getting a troop on the board, but that's not that relevant, the troop part, but we're mainly just having it for the discard. One of the win conditions in the main deck here is Relentless Corruption, just being able to steal our opponent's decks, the cards from their deck and use them against them. So then you've got the Arachnophobia, more discard. The creating of the spines is kind of irrelevant. It is at a bit of a anti-synergy there, but we don't mind, because if you do grab spiders out of your opponent's deck, you will just draw a card from your own deck, which actually can be better in some cases than just stealing your opponent's stuff. So we don't mind about that, but just this is another good control card, because we have obviously the ability, with all the early removal that the deck has, it has a very strong ability to wipe the whole board, and now with additional discard you can then also make it so your opponent's top decking quite easily. So you've got the 4 flies, the 3 Arachnophobia, and the 4 Inquisition, so that's all hand hate, and then you've got all the board hate, and then we've also got the Extinction as well, obviously a very big staple in the meta, being able to destroy all troops, so that's very much wanted there. And then Closed Coffins is very good as well. It's just a one-of, could easily go up to 2, just to make sure you get it, but if you are against a troop-heavy deck, this will definitely do some work if you get it out early, as any troop that would die, it voids it, and each opposing troop with the same name in hands, decks, and crypts. Pretty damn dirty, so very nice. I probably should go up to 2. And speaking of which, let's see if we want to do that right now before we go into some sample games, which I'll be doing shortly. Do I want to go up to 2 here? I should put 1 in the reserves, but anyway, we'll leave it at that for now. So then we got the Gallows Ghast, which he works, all the troops that are potentially dying. Obviously, if we're not against a troop-heavy deck, or if we're up against a deck that's similar, with no troops, then this guy's not going to do a whole lot, and the deck itself is going to have lots of dead cards, but that is obviously one of the downsides if you do go against that sort of stuff. But so he does, gets bigger every time a troop dies if he's in your hand. So he's one of the win conditions there. So we've got the Relentless Corruption, the Gallows Ghast, and we've got a 1 of Uranez, which also is it's a high cost, but pretty strong, able to take stuff out of the crypt, which doesn't work if you've got the Closed Coffins early. You won't be able to steal anything, but whatever. We'll leave it in there for now. So let's see here. So the reserves now. This is where the old switcheroo comes in, the art of the switch, the transformational sideboard. So let's go have a look there. So as you can see, we've got a very clear and concise strategy. It's all very much hard control. It's all about the control. Just control their hand, control their board. So your opponent will clearly see your strategy. It's very obvious. Even if the game only lasts a certain amount of turns, they're going to see what they're going to see what you're doing. They're going to see there's not many troops, and then that's where the sideboard comes in. After you hopefully have won game 1, you then switch out. There's loads of different options you can switch out, but obviously you switch out the weak stuff. So if your opponent if they're not a very aggressive deck, maybe Heatwave's not needed. Maybe they're running mostly tougher than 3 damage troops. That can come out. Burns can come out. Potentially you take out this as well, because again we are wanting to switch the strategy. So you can take out. There's 12 cards already as an example of what you could take out. You could take out Arachnophobias as well. So that's 15, just as an example. But it's going to be determined by what you're against. And in some cases, maybe switching isn't needed because your deck is maybe you're against colors that aren't going to have much cards that in their reserves, because you have to be thinking about what they're running and what they're likely to have in their reserves. So are they going to have stuff that will stop your is this main deck not good enough? Were they not running many troops? Well, in that case, doing the surprise will be probably beneficial, because you can bring in several threats here. We got all the vampires with the princess and the king, which if you don't know them, they are very strong. I'll quickly zoom in here. Probably tough to read, but yeah, definitely check them out. They are very strong, very much been in the meta for a long time. So you bring those in, and like when I did run this in the 5 shots weekly, it was working very well. When I did the switch, my opponents didn't have any hate cards because they just weren't expecting it, and it was very, very potent. So then there's a Fentio as well, one of Inquisitor, which I just added, which isn't really that necessary, but it's not the worst. But really, it's just about these guys here. Really good, strong win conditions, and if your opponent's not ready for them, then they do wonders. And then also Pact of Pain. Since we've got some life drain now, we can get some card draw in there, which is one of the weaknesses of the main deck, is not having the card draw. It really would love some of that, but Blood Ruby doesn't really have the most reliable sources of card draw. Withering Touch is just another good option depending on what you're against. It's good against chant decks and the like. Being able to take a constant is decent, but yeah. So that's the main reason why I've got that there for those type of things. But can also help protect preemptively your new the cards you're bringing in. So hopefully that'll make sense. Let me just make sure this is all working properly here. Seems I have a whisper. Let me have a look there. Alright, just missed the fridge. Alright, so yeah, that's the deck I'm going to show off here just as an example. Again, the strategy, like I'll go find an opponent here while I'm talking. So the whole idea is to have a deck that you think will be strong in the meta. Like the main deck is going to be something that you can abuse the fact that, like in this case, like bunnies are obviously very prevalent. We've got so much hate for the bunnies, we don't even care. They're easy to deal with this type of deck. So, that's obviously a pretty good matchup if you were to go against a sort of, aggressive bunny deck. Any troop-heavy deck, this stuff just hates on very much main deck-wise. So it does work really nice. It's a deck that main deck will deal really nicely against a lot of troop-heavy decks because of the cards that the deck's running. So that's kind of what you want to do. You want to look at the meta and say, all right, what because also another thing that the meta is kind of weak against in terms of main deck. You have to think about what are other decks in main deck weak against. So constant decks are also very strong because no one has constant hate in their main deck. Very, very few anyway. So, and because of that, you can abuse that. So you can then go, okay, I'm going to make a chant-based deck or something, which they are very strong. There's depending on the colors, maybe you're doing a Blood Ruby chant deck or a Sapphire Ruby chant deck with Heart of Fire, these type of things. Stuff that you can abuse the fact that by, what is the meta running? If they're not running constant hate, well then I could make a deck that's very strong with constants and then do the switcheroo with the reserves and transform the deck into something else. And knowing that in the, they've got their stuff that protects them from those decks in their reserves. So they're going to bring them in if you show them, and then you switch them out, bring in something else, and you surprise them. And yeah, works very nicely if you can pull it off. So that's the type of thing if you want to try a transformational sideboard type of deck, then that's what you have to think about in your main deck. You need to be abusing the fact that what are decks doing that they're weak against in their main deck, but they've got the reserves ready to protect them against that stuff. So then you just switch it out, and then they've brought in all these dead cards because you've switched your deck. So where very probably, very high chance we might even see a bunny here. We don't actually have a heat wave or a wipe yet, so I could. I've got a few options here, and I will just burn this to slow down my opponent. I mean, actually mulliganed, so that's pretty bad for him. But I will just burn this. Why not? Just slows him down, because I don't actually have. If I had a heat wave, there'd be no reason to burn that. I would be wanting him to play a bunny. That would be the great thing about that. Bunny would be fantastic. Then you just blow them both up, get some nice value there. So he's going to play a Chlorophyll. Now he's playing the Uzu, very likely Uzu deck with Azure Fate and Moss and the like. And that's something this deck can do just fine against. So yeah, we'll just pass the turn there. Got nothing we need to do. We may see an Azure Fate here, but if he does that, we've already got the Zigmund's Game, which will go past the Spell Shield. The heat waves go past it, Extinction goes past it, all that stuff. He plays a Dual Shard, so we're not going to see really anything here. We may just see counter being left open, which, if that's the case, it's just a Chlorophyll. Alright, so I'm going to Inquisition here. While I could Cold Fly, he may just have one good card, and therefore we want to make sure that card is gone. There is a possibility of a Verdict, but if that happens, well, so be it. He, he's running out of cards already. Oh, never mind, he's going to cycle there, so not going to be able to take the Root Father. It's gone back in the deck now. So Extinction's obviously nice. So yeah, we'll Inquisition. I don't actually need to. I could just play Closed Coffins. But yeah, whatever. We'll just do that. I mean, obviously, I'm very far ahead already because my opponent had to mulligan. I think it was maybe even twice. So this doesn't matter. I mean, neither of them matter technically, so we'll take this though. The correct one is to take is this because of the fact that the Croco, I mean, they both don't matter. It just doesn't actually make any difference. I was going to say if he didn't have his resource because I couldn't see them properly, but if he didn't have the thresholds, taking that would be correct. Meaning that, if he plays a shard, then the Corpse Slayer gets rid of it. Or if he holds it back, well then the Corpse Slayer gets rid of it. So, he doesn't want to play it because it's, potentially I bring out troops, and so he's thinking, he looks like he might actually not play it. Which is obviously a mistake, but he doesn't know that. So now we just ditch it anyway. So he's not sure what I'm running yet, so he's like, well, I might need this to, I'm in a very bad position card-wise. My opponent has so much advantage over me, and now he loses that as well, so pretty bad for my opponent there. Now, the one thing I could have done is let him play it, and then close Coffins and Zigmund Game, which is a fine strategy, because then he would lose all Crocosaurs, but we don't care about Crocosaurs, so we don't, it's not a big deal. So we'll just do that. We'll play out the Closed Coffins now, and we'll just swing in. So this deck is very slow. It's all about control in the main deck, obviously. So I'm not going to be winning super fast or anything. As you can see, all my cards in hand are all about control. So they're not going to do a whole lot at the moment. But that is fine. I mean, if we start getting Relentless Corruption, this is, like I said, one of the weaknesses of the deck is not having card draw. There are ways to do it in Blood Ruby, like Pact of Pain, but it's not great because you don't want to, you're not going to always be in a situation where you've got perfect control. You probably could go very low, and then it's risky to keep doing, drawing more cards. But you can try Pact of Pain main deck. You can do the Ruby card, the Constant, but that's also giving your opponent cards. Impulse is not a good option because you have many things you don't want to cast. So yeah, if Blood Ruby get some better card draw in the future, definitely will make this type of stuff a lot stronger. So Balthazar comes down, that's fine, whatever. He's going to draw one card, we don't mind. He gets a Shard Prism. I don't know why he casted that. That was a mistake by my opponent, because he could have used that to get another card next turn. So that was quite strange, I will have to say. So we can get rid of all Balthazars from the deck now if we like, but I don't really care that much at the moment. So I don't have to do it yet. Like if he draws another Balthazar, it's still not many cards. And I actually kind of want him to play more troops just because we have all this stuff ready to go. And again, Close Coffins will just get rid of the rest of his deck. Turbulence, that doesn't matter. That was going to probably die at some point anyway with all this stuff here. So that is perfectly fine. But yeah, my opponent, the main thing with what really put him back so far here is the mulligans he did. But yeah, so we'll just play that there. we've got all our thresholds we need. Doesn't really matter what I pick there. Still no need to kill this or do anything. Alright, so now we can, if I want to, I could extinction, which I might. I mean, it gets rid of all these from his deck, but I may even just let's see, I may just play no. Alright, we're just gonna use one of them. It's fine. So we'll get rid of several cards there. Looks like he's only running a couple of each, not 4 of each or anything like that, which is understandable. So if he does get any control cards, well, that's when he'll hold them in hand and we can then use the fly. Like, he might get a Turbulence, which he'll still just use in response, of course, but that's fine. So it's all about now either getting to Uranaz, like we did void, you know, the stuff we've been voiding, but we can always grab this with an Uranaz, which would be perfectly fine. Well, Crocosaur actually would be the better. We don't get the gems, so not going to do a whole lot if we were to grab that with an Uranaz. But anyway, so again, it's like I said, a slow way to win. Not seeing any relentless corruptions yet. But yeah, so again, if he just got a so he got a Shard Prism. See, this time he's using it correctly. Like the last one when he played it was wrong, and he probably just was like, "Whoops, I shouldn't have done that." As he does need to get to win conditions, the ways to kill me. So yeah, we'll see what he does here. Is it a troop? It is indeed a troop, but it's a dead troop. And now we're going to get rid of all the rest of his Azure Fate Sorceresses. So they're going bye-bye with the Zigmund's game. So we'll kill those. And they're gone. So the deck is getting smaller and smaller. We'll just pass the turn. One thing I've been thinking of doing is changing the win condition from Relentless Corruption. Relentless Corruption works better when you've got the card draw to keep drawing them. So it's not great, but it's just what I put in when I played it. But there are you want us to have something. You don't want to have a troop based though, because that's what your the deck switch is for. So you don't want to have a troop based win condition in your main deck. So. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'll change to yet, but that's fine. So we can kill that with a Zigmund's Game if we like, because we don't have any more Spell Shield things to deal with because Azure Fate's gone. So, I'll probably just do... Let's think about this. I'm just gonna actually chump block it for a turn, see if we can get, maybe he'll top deck another troop. It'd be more like... The Balthazar died, so he doesn't have any more Balthazars because they got voided. So I don't have to worry about him getting crazy card draw. But I'm more than happy to... maybe he gets in 5 damage, I don't mind. I am being a little greedy here, unnecessarily. But I'm okay with that. It's give him a bit more of a chance, I guess. But yeah, he's in trouble. Like, I'm just wanting him to play another troop, and then I get a bit more value, depending on if he does. He may even hold it in hand, which is fine also. It's probably a shard, let's find out. And it's a shard, yeah, alright. So, I'm going to actually just take 5 damage. Going to be a little greedy once again. Play a troop, please. Alright, he did. Luckily for me, it's not a speed root feller, which is one thing that would have wrecked my face right now. If that was a different gem, I would have died to that right now. I am going to still take more damage. That's a little bit annoying. It does actually have the Empower, so that's okay. I'm going to 2. I say that's okay, it's really not, but whatever. We are going to get rid of the rest of these from the deck, so... And as long as he doesn't have speed troops, which he could, definitely could have, like speed bunnies, for example, is something he might be running. So in that case, I need to keep this alive. Well, that's pretty decent. So now we can do the extinction. Now, will this go up by 2 here? Alright, no, they're getting voided, so there is, yeah, a little bit of an synergy there, but that's fine. So, okay, that actually helps out, because, yeah, because this is on the board. I forgot I had this even on the board. But because it's on the board, we actually don't even need to double kill the thingamajiggy there. The Master Moss. So even if he has a speed troop, we've got the burn. If it is a speed bunny that he has, you know, if he's, because you can only have probably just the one, you know, the one troop with gemmed with speed anyway. You could have potentially other speed troops, but it's very unlikely. But yeah, so while I'm at 2 health, it's not really much of a concern. So we are going to just charge parry here and use one of these heat waves to kill that for 3 damage. This will not get buffed, but that doesn't matter. We'll get in 9 damage here and have a threat on the board, knowing that my opponent doesn't have an answer for it. So I've still got the burn open if he does have speed bunnies. That's pretty much all I have to worry about at this point, is speed bunnies. As he is only ever going to... I mean, he can't get root fathers anymore, can't get moss, can't get... You know, can't get much. We've dealt with a lot of stuff with this one of closed coffins over here. It's pretty brutal when you get it. So I'm drawing another shard there, that's fine. Now one thing he could do is if he gets a speed bunny and then another troop to follow up with it, then this won't work because I can't use this on his turn. So that would be one way to kill me. But would he think that... You know, would he think that, you know, is necessary? Very unlikely. And that's only if he has it, which he might not. So he does nothing there. And there's an Urnaz, that's pretty nice. So let's just play it. We'll get back. We'll take the Croco over there, so the biggest troop. So now he needs to, yeah, needs a burn or something. But this is only just game 1. And then we're going to, you know, hopefully he doesn't quit or anything. Actually, does this have a reserves? I don't actually know if this does. I don't think it does now. the random opponent thing, it's not something I didn't think of just now. Didn't think of that before I started it. But based on the deck type, I probably would actually be beneficial to keep my deck somewhat as it is, but I would definitely bring in the vampires against him. But yeah, so he's pretty much dead here. I mean, he is dead here. So we'll just heat wave that. Well, let's take something from his deck first. Actually, we'll heat wave first, just because we don't want to steal a puck. That's boring. We're gonna probably get a shard. The odds of hitting shards is still pretty damn high. And he decides, I mean, he's just quitting. So yeah, there is actually no, it's not a best of 3, so what I should do here, Urnaz is quickly becoming my favorite card. Red over is just, yeah, no, exactly. I forgot when I did that. So, let's see, so, I guess what I will do, because I do want to, I mean, you know what obviously I was going to do, which is abuse the fact of the sideboard. Bring in troops that your opponent's not expecting. Let's see here. I'll see if this mofo won, and potentially I'll see if he wants to verse me here. But if anyone in chat wants to quickly verse me, that's fine too. So let's see, where's my windows gone? Ah. Would Gallows Gas be good in this deck with the 2 ruby gems? What? I'm confused. I mean, as we saw, it wasn't the greatest when it comes to with the void card there. The let's go back into the collection here. I forgot the name of it already. The coffins, closed coffins. So it's obviously doesn't work with that, but it's just a one-off. And if you don't get this, well, then you're gonna, if you have it in hand, it's still dead damage, obviously. So it's not a big deal. But yeah, so I mean, as you can see, lots of control, and like as I said, I love seeing turn 1 Braves into bunnies when you've got the amount of answers this deck has, and there are other things you can run like Gozog if you like, with like bleed outs for more anti-spell shield control, and that's what I had in there. But I was like, you know, it's not even needed. We've got Zigman's Game and Heatwave. That's enough you know, and the burns as well. So much anti-early game pressure. So if I was to actually take out the Relentless Corruption as the main win condition, as I said, I don't want to do... Like, Rage Fire is also another one that you want card draw, so we don't want that either. But you don't really want to have it troop-based, so it does make it a little bit tricky to really, like I haven't really explored it too far, but yeah, I'm sure there's something else. I'm sure you guys could think of something there. But you want to do something that is going to be good in the meta, so you don't want to have, you know, important troops that are trying to win. Like if you were to main deck these, people are going to have stuff for that potentially. You know, people run main deck removal, so you want them to have dead cards. But also you want to surprise them. So if you have stuff like, you know, good threats in your main deck, well then they'll keep in their removal or bring in more efficient removal or what have you. So let's think about this real quick. I should just let's quickly look at Blood Ruby. Let me actually check my chat here. You're making dinner? Nice. Alright, let's have a quick look. Whoops. So yeah, we want a win condition that... Let's take out the PvE cards, that might help. And we don't want something too crazy expensive. Castigator is cool, but it is a troop, so we don't really want a troop-based win condition. Not in the main deck anyway. I probably should take off the troops, but I'll just scroll down. I'm just gonna see if I can find anything that interests me. Yeah. It's not a whole lot really that comes to mind anyway. So yeah, another thing also you can do in the reserves, if you want to do more troops, you can do a monsoon as well for that style of deck, you know, when you're wanting to surprise your opponent. But the reason I didn't is because it's not really necessary, because you're surprising. The element of surprise is where you get your opponent. Zombie Plague could do some shenanigans with Zombie Plague in the main deck, but I'm not going to do that. But anyway, the win condition is opponent rage quitting. Yeah, that's definitely certain decks have done that. But yeah. So what we're going to do here is go back to, let's see. I'll see if I can get someone to see if anyone wants to do that from the chat there. Or if anyone in Twitch would like to, we'll quickly do that. But yeah, so I mean, I guess it's you guys hating zombie plagues. Yeah, I guess I have that. Like, you can understand the concept. Obviously, the idea is to, as I said, have a deck that is strong in the meta, but that's also abusing the meta. That you know people are not going to have hate for this type of card or that type of card, so you want to build your main deck around that, and potentially with it, you know, like in this case, it's a very hard control deck. So. And then your opponent, you know, yes, counter magics and stuff like that can be annoying, but generally you're just gonna, they're gonna play out something, you're gonna kill it. They're gonna play something, you're gonna kill it. You can, you know, there are situations where you might get greedy, like with Extinction, and then they have a verdict or something, and then you get blown out. That could definitely happen, but you just have to, you know, assess each game individually. But yeah, you want to have your main deck in a position in the meta that is strong, and that's where, like, I'll quickly go in here again and show you some other decks that I've been toying with. So as I said before, you can do like a chant type of deck, and as you see, I've got several here that I've been fiddling with different main decks. Cool. So let's have a look at some of those, and I'll show you here. We'll just check out the first one. So the first one here, as you can see, again, it's all about the chants. you've got minimal troops. So you got the Fury Chant, the Heart of Fire, the Fulmination, and then the Heat Wave again, because it is very strong against the bunny type decks, and it's obviously something very much in the meta that if you don't have the answer for, you can just die on turn 3. So very good card to have, and it's like not something you see standard in a type of chant deck because you want to be the one who is just blowing them up before they kill you. But it doesn't the deck doesn't need to be super fast. Then that's why having this in there just is a bit of insurance against the early pressure, and then you just get your cards in hand that you need. So say for example you were to use this on let's say you did it on turn 2 or 3, you blew up a bunch of early pressure, and then the turn after that you could potentially do Heart of Fire. The turn after that you then do your combo where you do like your Fury Chant into something and something, and then you just blow them up with ever increasing resources. So that's the idea of obviously a chant deck. So again, you've got that sort of stuff, and then the reserves is where you switch. You switch out all your constants potentially. So you might take out all your Fury Chants, your Heart of Fires, your Fulminations. So there's 12 cards you can take out straight away, and then maybe because you don't potentially want as many Burn to the Grounds, because these are mainly there because of Heart of Fire, they can very much get out of control. So you would then potentially take out some of those as well, and then you could switch. So in this case, you could switch to a Skarn and a Phoenix, and the Scorches. So all this sort of stuff that is now a different win condition. It's not the best type of thing to switch to, but it's just an idea, and it's something there. Let's have a look at other stuff here I was toying with. Let's have a look at number 3. So that's just basically the same main deck. And the idea, so this is something I don't recommend. I was actually just toying with the idea, like I could do it, because I want to do this. I want to switch to these because they're such good surprises. When your opponent's not expecting these cards, they just do so much work. So, but because the chance deck don't run many blood, because it is all ruby, and it's the blood is only for Yodel because it's very powerful with chance. So it's like, well, I could do this, and that could work rather nice, but it still would be very iffy. It's just sad that these are double blood, so it does make that very unlikely to work properly as you would like it to. So let's have a look at number 2. Okay, that's empty reserves. Okay, so this is actually where I was trying the reserves just in the main deck to get a feel of it. So I was trying it with Fiendish Kabbalists, and then as you can see, I've got the Sun Soul Phoenix, the Priority Performer. These are the things I would be bringing in. So we already had the synergy in the main deck with this guy, with the Anarchist and the Fulmination. So you're leaving those in, and then you can bring in Kabbalist. It's an okay threat, definitely can do a lot of work in the early game. And then you got the Phoenix as well. So that's kind of like the reserves there, just in a main deck for me to test. So that's kind of an idea there. I don't know if I've built any others. I mean, I may have, and I may have deleted them. Let's have a look. But so as you can see there, the strategy on those decks is, a chant-based deck, because it is something that the meta doesn't have hate for in their main deck for most decks, because it's not something you can really afford to hate against when there's all these troop-based decks going around. And as if you have like, oh look, I got this anti-constant card. Well, I'm up against all 5 troop decks in a row, and then there's the one-off chant deck. It's like it's obviously something you can't afford to do, and so you're abusing that fact that people can't afford to have several constant hate cards in their main deck. It's all going to be in the reserves because it's not many people are using these decks for starters. So you put them in the reserves for that off chance you go against one, and that's when you switch them out. So then they bring in their hate, and then you switch them out. So for example, if I look at this one again here, so say that was our main deck, and then in the reserves, like we could have these, we could have the what was it called, the Kabbalists. So you could have different options there. But like say you wanted 3 of the, if you don't want to do Skarn, which Skarn is a decent option, but so you got Kabbalists, you got all these different options here. So you switch out all your constants, they bring in the hate, and then all of a sudden your win condition has changed. This one isn't as strong in my opinion, just because it is still like they're not like vampires are very very strong when you switch to them. Alright, so we potentially get a game going here, if Fridge wants to. But yeah, I mean, as you saw, with the deck that the first one we looked at, yes, I want to close it anyway. We'll go back to it here. So, I've also got, that's a Darkspire version main deck. So I'll show that real quick as well. So, as you can see, it's using Darkspires. It's kind of similar to the previous one. You get a little bit of card draw because you are running troops, so you can run something like this. And it's very similar, as you can see, to the previous. But it's got Darkspires in there for less hand hate. You still have a decent chunk of anti-troop stuff, and you can also jump block and all that. But yeah, I don't know if it's as good. It's because it's kind of trying to do a bit of trying to get a bit. It's got less control. Let's put it that way. So yeah, this is the first one we looked at here. So as we saw, my opponent, yes, he mulliganed, but we still had all the control cards, and it just does that very well. It does the control very well. It would obviously be weak against other control type decks. Yeah, I mean, you still have the hand hate, so it would be somewhat okay, depending, and the Relentless Corruptions as well, potentially. But had we had a game 2, we would have brought these in. Very likely these 8 at the very least. Probably a Fentio as well. Yeah, and these all, obviously don't die to Heatwave, so you can leave that in against for like the Azure Fate that we saw, because that's obviously an important kill target. So you'd bring those in. You'd leave in the Heatwave in that matchup. You would maybe take out Zigmund's game because of the fact that Heatwave will do what it needs to, and you want your flyers, because your flyers will just go over the top. Actually, I had a matchup. I did actually verse that deck in the 5 Shots Weekly, and I did beat it, and I did exactly that. I actually remember now, as I did keep the Heatwaves in, took these out, took out some other stuff, brought in the Vampires, and was able to deal with their ground stuff. They weren't expecting the flyers, and they took out and didn't bring in their anti-air hate, and took out all their other removal they may have had main deck. And I do remember asking my opponent if he did that, and he was like, "Yeah, that sucked." So that's the idea. Let's yeah, I mean, I guess that pretty much covers it, right? But I'll see if I have another example of another deck. Like, I've been building stuff all over the place, but I don't know if I have them saved. Maybe not. Let's have a look. Yeah, no, I don't think so. So that's the main ones I've been toying with, just because Blood Ruby is very strong when it comes to control. So yeah, it's just that's the main one I toyed with first. And as you can see, it does do the control side very well. So that is something you can think about if you're building decks and you're wanting to take on the meta. It's a good strategy. So the transformational sideboard. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers it really. The only thing I didn't get to obviously show you was doing the sideboard, because it was a best of 1. But I'm sure you get the idea. So if you do have questions, either in chat right now, or if you're watching this on YouTube and you have questions, feel free to comment, and I'll answer those as quick as I can. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the old Switcheroo, the transformational sideboard. Alrighty. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this week. Next week I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but we'll see. Tomorrow I'll be doing some draft on the stream. So if you want to see some, actually I might do some constructed tomorrow actually on stream. So yeah, that is pretty much that. Let's where's my thing here? There we go. Alrighty. So oops, the chat's still there. That's kind of weird. It's kind of cool. Alright, so yeah, thanks for watching. Take care, have a good one. And again, if you do have any questions, feel free to comment below. And yeah, take it easy.